So, my name's Dr. Danny Scahill, the founder of DannyScahill.com and the creator of Ultimate Performance Formula. And tonight I'm going to be sharing with you the proven three-step formula to creating total health transformation in 90 days or less. So what is the formula all about? First of all, if I may, I'm going to share some information with you about myself, about how I get started and what my journey was from when I began to today. So I remember way back when I was 3 or 4 years of age, I've always been very, very ambitious. That hasn't changed really, to be honest with you. From that age, I actually wanted to be a lawyer, something that's very different to what I am today. That's what I thought at that time anyway. So everyone's got a reason why they do things, and my younger brother there, Neil, the picture you can see, is part of the reason why I do what I do today. So I remember way back when I was 9 years of age, I made a decision, and the decision was based around what I heard from my mum. One day when I got home from school, both myself and my older brother, we got home from school in the afternoon, and my mum says, your younger brother Neil, he's been diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, and we were 10 and 11 years of age, and we both said, well, what's that? My mum says, he's autistic, he's handicapped, and I remember distinctly crying my eyes out. I was really sad, I was really upset, and even then I wanted to know what I could do to help. Is there anything I can do to help? And it was just really emotional. It was a really sad day. Right there and then I vowed to my mum that I would always make sure that Neil would be looked after. So both myself and my brothers looked after Neil throughout school. He was a couple of years below us, so we were able to look after him. Because there was, like in a lot of schools, if somebody's a little bit different, they tend to get picked on. And unfortunately that was definitely the case for Neil when I left that school, because he was in junior school when I moved into senior school. So yeah, I always vowed, and still do to this day, to make sure that Neil's looked after. And I also as well want to make sure that my parents are looked after, because I never had to want for anything when I was growing up, and I want to make sure as my parents age as they are now, that they want for nothing as well. So I really want to look after my family, essentially. So the story continues into my teens. Well, this is really what led to me becoming a chiropractor via a few other destinations. So if I fast forward to when I was 15, I injured my shoulder when I was lifting weights way too young. The reason I was doing that was to get stronger and bigger for kickboxing tournaments that I had at that age in my life. And so I went from exercising every single day, multiple times every day. I used to play football twice a day every day, and I did kickboxing 3 times a week. And I got injured, so I went from loads and loads of exercise, feeling great all of the time, to no exercise overnight, and that was really hard to deal with. So with no release valve of exercise, I got very, very stressed out, and at the time I was studying for my GCSEs, and I got really, really depressed. I mean really depressed. I was clinically depressed, and that was really, really hard. Not a nice time at all. So in spite of all of that, after telling my mum and dad about it and then speaking to the teachers, I still managed to get my head around all the exams and all the coursework, and I still passed every single GCSE, which was a real achievement really, considering that how tough that year was. So how did I get into chiropractic, and why chiropractic? Well, I had to do something about this. I had an injury. I went from exercising loads, not being able to exercise at all. And it was so frustrating, and it was really affecting my life. I didn't know any different at that age. So I went to see a physio for about 6 to 12 months. And unfortunately, it didn't help me at all. And even to this day, I hear lots of people patients of mine say to me, "Oh, I've tried physio, it didn't really help." I hear that all the time. Obviously, it helps some people, but in my experience, it hasn't helped a lot of people. So at the age of 17, the next thing I tried was osteopathy, and that really did help me a lot. It was really, really beneficial. So much so that I cancelled my university application to study law, and then I applied to osteopathic college. When I was 18, I went to osteopathic college, and 3.5 years into that course, when I could see the finish line in sight, the college closed down. That was a part-time college, so I was working full-time at the same time. And both osteopathic professions and chiropractic professions were going through regulation at that time. And so any colleges that were part-time went. So my college closed down. And a mentor of mine, an osteopath mentor of mine who mentored me throughout osteopathic college, he says, "Why don't you become a chiropractor?" Which, if you've been in chiropractic college with me or osteopathic college, you would have seen that in the college, the tutors would be taking the piss out of the other profession and vice versa. So I seen in osteopathic college, they'd say, if you have patients you don't like, send them to the chiropractor or the physio down the road. And the chiropractic mentors and professors and stuff like that in chiropractic college would say the same thing in the opposite direction. You don't like a patient, send them to the osteopath or the physio down the road. Really childish, to be honest with you, but such is life, isn't it? We're all human. And so that's a little bit about my journey into what I do now. What exactly is it I do now? Well, these days I'm a peak performance expert. What does that mean? Well, I'm coaching and mentoring many of my clients, and it's got a strong philosophy of chiropractic health. It's all about really eat well, move well, and think well, and you'll be well. Essentially, that's what it's all about. I've always looked at health from a holistic perspective, and I've helped many, many of my patients, friends, and family totally transform their lives and their health. Over the years, my patients have consistently urged me to make this information accessible and available to as many people as possible, which led to me creating Ultimate Performance Formula, which is my flagship program. In short, it is indeed all about eat well, move well, and think well. So communication and influence have obviously had played a big part in my development over the years. And as I alluded to earlier, I've been in the health and wellness arena for over 15 years now. I've also trained in leadership, personal development, business mastery, and NLP as well. I've spent tens of thousands on my education with the likes of Dr. DeMartini. If you know anybody in The Secret, you will have recognized Dr. DeMartini's name there. Dr. James Chestnut is a chiropractic mentor of mine. Tony Robbins, I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with, and T. Harv Eker and Chris Howard as well, you're probably familiar with as well. And also some of you recognize the name Daniel Wagner, I would imagine, a current mentor of mine. So I've also interviewed over 20 different world-renowned health experts over the past couple of years, and lots of world experts in the world of self-development as well. So what is Eat Well, Move Well, Think Well all about? Well, you can probably see what it's about from the words there, but let's look at it in a bit more detail. Because to be truly healthy, you need to do just that. You need to eat well, which relates to optimum nutrition. You need to move well, which is all about innate exercise. What does that mean? Well, that means doing the right exercise for your body. The exercise our bodies were designed for. Think well is the peak performance mindset, and that is absolutely essential. Let's start off with nutrition and talk a little bit about that. There are indeed 3 components to nutrition as I see it. There's ingestion. If you put garbage in, you're going to get garbage out. Digestion and absorption. Essentially what's broken down and delivered is what that relates to. And then you've got what's utilized, how the food is absorbed, used, then stored, and also ultimately eliminated. Physicians and nutritionists over the years have been convinced that coronary heart disease, what I'll call CHD from this point on, diabetes, hypertension, several types of cancer have been massively increasing in the last 100 years, and this is due specifically to the Western diet, among a couple of other things as well. The Western diet these days is absolutely nothing like what our ancestors ate 10 and 20,000 years ago, and that what they ate was what I'll call the innate diet. The interesting fact, though, is our genes have not changed at all in that time, but our diet and also our environment have changed drastically. That's where disease enters. So there's 5 key concepts to be established. Number 1, our genes are programmed for health. They're not designed or programmed for toxicity and deficiency, because toxicity and deficiency affects our genetic expression, and that leads to sickness. It's not faulty genes. It really isn't. Our genes haven't changed in thousands of years, guys. So the ancestors, the hunter-gatherers, way back 10, 20,000 years ago, they just didn't die of diseases of lifestyle. That just wasn't around in those days. Obviously, they had different challenges. They had to escape a tiger or an animal that they're trying to hunt and kill to bring back to their family. They'd be more likely to die of an infection or be eaten by that animal, as opposed to dying of diseases of lifestyle. So today we're toxic and deficient, whereas they were the opposite. They were pure and sufficient. Can you see how different they sound? One's obviously health and vitality, and the other is the exact opposite to that, illness and sickness and ultimately disease. So modern illness, once again, is due largely to environment. Let's look at toxicity and deficiency a little bit more closely. Most people are chronically dehydrated. How much water have you drank today? Ask yourself that question. Another important question really is, how much water is enough? If you were to look in a magazine or a paper or do a little bit of Googling, as we all do these days, we get on Google and we search for something, how much is the correct amount of water really? Think about that. So you've probably heard people talk about 2 litres a day, and that's good enough. 2 litres a day is an absolute minimum. You want to be drinking 3 to 4 litres or more every single day. Some people say, well, can't you have too much water? In the Western world, it would be very, very difficult for somebody to drink too much water. But if you were to have like sort of 8 to 10 litres of it, you're probably going to run into problems because you can overload the kidneys and start to cause loads of other issues. But seriously, in the Western world, it's very, 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 very close to impossible to become overhydrated. Okay, most people eat way too much meat, eat way too much fat, and too many cereal grains as well. They eat far too little vegetables, and PUFAs, what are polyunsaturated fatty acids, put simply, the good fats. Let's have a look at acid-alkaline balance. You probably remember, I would imagine, from school, the acid-alkaline chart. And that wasn't documenting foods, that was just documenting strong acid to strong alkaline with neutral in the middle. Okay. Humans are metabolically acidic today, whereas our ancestors were the opposite. They were metabolically alkaline. What does that mean? Well, metabolically acidic essentially means when all the food and drink has been metabolized or broken down in our bodies, acid is what's left over. And that's a real problem, to be metabolically acidic. Whereas our ancestors, after they digested all the food and broken it down, they were metabolically alkaline, which is what our bodies should be. Okay, we're going to have a look at a chart very shortly which relates to the acidity and the alkalinity of different foods. pH neutral is the goal, and our bodies will do whatever it has to and whatever it needs to get our body and blood chemistry back to neutral. It does that in two ways. It takes calcium and magnesium out of your body, your bones and your tissues to achieve that. If you think about a time when you've had an upset stomach or acid reflux where you get the acid coming back up from your stomach, and you might have taken Rennie or Gaviscon. If you think about Rennie, do you remember that was very, very chalky? That is going to neutralize the acid. It's got like loads of calcium in it and it's going to reduce the acid, and it's got lime and all sorts of other stuff like that to neutralize the acid, okay? You've also got magnesium as well as another way for your body to neutralize that acid. Let's put this into context. Okay, so calcium, your body is actually going to take calcium out of bone to neutralize that acid. What do you reckon that leads to? Well, osteoporosis if it's a long-term over-acidic environment. Having another look at magnesium, well, what does that mean? Well, magnesium's got loads of functions, but one function we'll focus on is it relaxes muscles and relaxes tissues and cells. Okay, so if your body is metabolically acidic, due to your diet, then your body is naturally going to take magnesium out of the muscles, out of the tissues, and out of the blood vessels. Well, what do you reckon that means? Well, sore muscles, tight muscles, constricted blood vessels, hello, high blood pressure. It really is that simple. Let's have a look more closely at the chart in a second, and you'll find out what foods are acidic and which are alkaline. Indeed, you'll find as well that the modern diet is full of acid-producing food and drink. So you can see a chart there, and right in the middle there, if I highlight, you've got pH neutral, around about 7 to 7.3, give or take. In the middle there, you've got food categories in the pink column there. You've got their sweeteners, fruits, beans, legumes, veggies, nuts and seeds, oils, grains, meats, eggs and dairy, and beverages. Okay, so let's have a look at strongly acidic foods. If we have a look at the top left there, most acidic, and then you've got acidic in the middle of that column, and then lowest acidic. And then on the far right, you've got most alkaline, and then slightly alkaline. So we go across to the left here. The top column is sweeteners. You've got NutraSweet, aspartame, sweet and low. All of these are very, very acidic when they're broken down in your body, and they are very, very carcinogenic. In other words, they cause cancer. So if you insist on having a sweetener, at the very, very least, instead of the sweeteners, have brown sugar. Even white sugar is better than the sweeteners, but even better, go right across to what's most alkaline and put in stevia. Now stevia is very, very alkaline. It's got no calories. It's very, very good for you in comparison to what's on the left-hand side of that chart there. And also, you only need an absolutely tiny bit of it. It's very, 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 very sweet, and it comes from a natural plant. So it's not man-made or manufactured like a lot of those sweet and lows and NutraSweets and whatnot. So yeah, you only need a tiny bit of it because it is so sweet. You can easily put too much of it in, and whatever you've added it to will taste sickly. So beware. So lower down there, we've got chocolate, and that is very, very acidic when it's broken down. Further down, you've got peanuts and walnuts. And then right down at the bottom, or near to the bottom, you've got white flour, white wheat, white pasta, white rice as well, all very acidic when they're broken down. Further down there, you've got all meats, particularly the red meats. You've got beef. You've got further down, you've got dairy products. You've got cheese, milk, ice cream. Then at the bottom, drinks, alcoholic drinks, beer, wine, soft drinks. Coffee, tea, all very acidic when they're broken down. Tea not as much as the others, but certainly still acidic. And then on the bottom right there, different teas. You've got herbal teas, lemon water, green tea, all nice and alkaline. If we have a look right at the top, I mentioned already, you've got stevia. It's a natural sweetener, something that's most alkaline. A couple of things that might surprise you. lemons and limes, when they're broken down, they are very, very alkaline. Obviously, when you put them in your mouth, they're very, very acidic, but the key is what it's broken down into. It's not what it is when it goes into your mouth, it's what it is when it's processed and metabolized. Lime and lemon, very, very alkalizing. Really good to add to water and your juices and stuff like that. You can see pretty much every vegetable and almost every fruit is metabolically alkaline into there. And things like olive oil as well. Coconut oil is not on there, but coconut oil is very, very good for you in lots of different ways. It's very good for cooking with. It's very good for as a moisturizer. It's very good for so many different things, and coconut oil is a whole different seminar on its own. Okay, so there's plenty of information on there on the acid alkaline chart there for you guys. I'm going to give you a PDF version of this presentation as well. If you mention in the question box whether that would be of use to you, then you'd be more than welcome to receive a PDF of that. So let's move on from there. What are the consequences of acidity? There are many, many consequences. You've got osteoporosis, which I mentioned already, and you've got lots of other things like hypertension, which is another word for blood pressure, high blood pressure that is, arthritis, aging rapidly. And there's a really good book that I'd recommend you all read, guys. It is called The pH Miracle. It's by Dr. Robert Young. He was pretty much the pioneer of the alkaline diet or the alkaline lifestyle. He did lots of work with Tony Robbins many, many moons ago. So, what do we do with regards to making changes in the food that we eat? Well, essentially we want to focus on adding in the good foods, makes you feel good, produces lots of different positive chemicals in the body, whereas if you focus on deprivation, in other words, what you can't have, that creates acidity in your body, which is obviously creating an acidic environment. So we need to really focus on what we can have. Do not focus on what you can't have. Like I just said, deprivation is going to cause an acidic state or an acidic environment in your body. You might want to write that down. That's a key distinction there, guys. The same really applies to all habits. The need is, or the requirement is, to focus on doing the good habits, eating the good food, doing the exercise, changing your mental habits, your mindset. Always focusing on adding in the good stuff as opposed to continuing to do the negative habit or whatever it is that you are doing. So what can we do? Well, the game really is to make small changes one at a time. I'm sure, like me, most of you guys have attempted to do massive changes all in one go and changed loads of things at the same time. And in most cases, that leads to failure. Trying to do too much in one time means that you can't do everything successfully. You might do some things successfully, but more than one of the many things that you attempt to do will suffer as a result. It's very much the same within making changes to the food that you eat. So the last thing we want to do is get overwhelmed, and that will happen in most cases if you try and change too much at once. Experiment with different foods. Different foods work for different people. So what works for me might not necessarily work for you, and vice versa. Focus on adding to before taking away from your diet. As an example there, if you want to quit chocolate, like some of you may want to do or may have been thinking of doing that in January as a New Year's resolution, focus on adding in some good stuff. As an example, add an apple to your diet rather than reducing the chocolate. Last thing you want to do is go cold turkey. It may work for a period of time, but you'll probably end up splurging on some of the foods that you can't or haven't allowed yourself to eat for a period of time, and then possibly put on more weight than what you lost in the first place, which is not going to make anybody happy. It's going to make you be the opposite to that, obviously. There's some simple tips along the way, guys. 3 to 4 litres of clean, good quality filtered water per day will set you well on your way. It's going to boost your energy massively. When you're dehydrated, you are absolutely exhausted, and because our bodies are supposed to be 70 to 80% water, and the brain should actually be over 80% water as well. So if we're even 5% dehydrated, that affects our performance massively, which is a huge problem. I'm sure you guys are on this call tonight to learn a bit more about how to perform better and perform at your peak. Drinking loads more water is certainly going to move you in that direction. You want to be eating at least 5 pieces of fruit and veg a day. That's an absolute minimum. I know people say 5 a day in the media and magazines and whatnot, but that's an absolute minimum rather than an optimum. Wheatgrass is something you may or may not have heard of. Wheatgrass is very, very potent. It's very, very powerful. Gives you loads of energy. Gives you an internal detox from inside out. Essentially, you can get this from any health food store, Holland & Barrett, or any other good quality health food store. If you buy the sachets, I like something called Urban Wheatgrass. A bit more expensive than the other ones, but much better in my opinion. Or if you're getting the sachet, the big pouches, which are a lot cheaper, you want to be putting a teaspoon in a pint of filtered water as opposed to half a sachet, and mix it up and drink it. Do that twice a day. You might want to start off 1 a day and then work into twice a day. I find with lots of things like wheatgrass, people say, oh, look at the state of that, it's green, that must be disgusting. I find with most minerals, vitamins and supplements and whatnot, the more your body needs it in the beginning, usually the worse it tastes. Very, very quickly, it should taste just neutral. It doesn't really taste of anything. It doesn't taste good, doesn't taste bad. After been drinking it several years now, it still doesn't taste good, but it definitely tastes more neutral than anything else. Multivitamins and minerals. Well, I mean, you know, in an ideal world, we're going to be getting all the nutrition, all the vitamins, all the minerals from the food that we eat. But the reality is, for most people in the Western world, have such busy lives, and a lot of the food and drink that people eat just doesn't contain the multivitamins and minerals that we really need. So I often recommend multivitamin and a minimum of 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. Definitely, definitely avoid dairy products as much as possible. There's a strong link to breast cancer in women and a strong link to prostate cancer in men. So some juices. I'd strongly recommend you get a juicer if you don't already have one. Here's a base of ingredients for your juice. Carrots, apples, cucumbers, celery makes a great base as well. And then from that point, there's a whole world of options available to you. Just keep on adding to this base. Here's some examples. Celery, kale, pineapple, pears, beetroot, ginger. The more vegetables, the better. You know, you hear people talk about fruit and veg. Think about vegetables and fruits. You really want to focus on much more vegetables than fruits in the juices, because there's far more goodness for you in vegetables than there is fruits. Of course, fruit's good for you, but veggies are going to give you more nutrition. Something I really like to do all throughout the year, really, but particularly now it's getting cold, you probably be more interested in making soups yourself, and it's really, really very simple and really nutritious. You want to put in, well, this is what I put in, and it makes a good amount. 1.5 liters of water, 3 vegetable stock cubes, yeast and dairy free I like, 2 carrots, 2 parsnips, broccoli, a large onion, half a red onion, 4 or 5 cloves of garlic, and I make that a couple of times a week generally. Now this is just, it will give you energy of course, but what this is actually doing really is, in addition to the juicing, it's helping you get loads and loads of veggies into your system really, really quick. Really, really good for you. And these are just a few nice little tips that you can add to your diet and your lifestyle really, really quick, really easy, and make massive changes to your energy, health, and vitality. So we've looked at eating well there. Let's have a look at moving well and see what's going on with that. What is that all about exactly? Well, 10 and 20,000 years ago, hunter-gatherers were very, very active. and if they were sedentary, they would have been killed. You know, they couldn't stand still, so they're constantly moving. The human gene, as I alluded to earlier, is not changed in this time. Our environments have changed drastically, though, which causes abnormal genetic expression. That's what it keeps on coming back to. It's about the expression of genes, genetic expression, and this results in cancer, heart disease, obesity, diabetes, and depression, and lots of other things as well, but these are the biggies. Toxicity and deficiency of exercise. This whole theme runs right through the whole eat well, move well, think well. It is all about being toxic and deficient in exercise in this instance. And so when we become toxic and deficient in an essential nutrient, which is movement, lots of other problems result because of that. As a species, we were designed to move, and when we don't exercise, a whole host of health problems arise because of that. Let's have a look at an energy expenditure comparison between our ancestors and us. The Paleolithic male, in other words, the hunter-gatherer, versus the industrialized male of today. The Paleolithic guys, 4,000 calories a day, of which 2,000 calories a day were expended in moving, physical movement. Industrial men today, 2,700 calories, of which they expend 700, just under 700 calories in physical movement. You can see quite clearly there our ancestors did 3 times more movement and exercise than we do today. That is very, very significant. Paleolithic female versus the industrialized female today. The Paleolithic ladies, 2,500 calories a day, of which 1,250 calories a day were expended with activity. Industrialized female, 1,700 intake, and just 435 calories of physical movement are expended there as well. And you can see that is pretty much 1/3 of what their ancestors did. So it's quite clear there, guys, that our ancestors were moving a lot more than we were today. Sitting is killing you. It really is. At this point, if you're sat down, just get up on your feet, because sitting is for your spine what sugar is for your teeth. We know sugar is really bad for our teeth, so I'm sure you can see sitting down is very, very bad for our spine. So just have a little bit of a stretch, guys. Have a stand up and reach up towards the sky, and then lean forward as if to touch your toes, and then come back up to straight. Take your left hand and go down the side of your left leg, down towards your knee, and back to the middle, and then to the right side, and back up, and then have a seat back down, or you can stay on your feet, as excuse me, as I'm going to now as well. Exercise and brain function. There's some real key distinctions and findings that have been found in research over the years when we look at exercise and function of different parts of the body and the brain. Movement deficiency, in other words, a lack of exercise, inhibits proper brain function. Sedentary lifestyle is associated with lower cognitive skills, in other words, you don't think very well. Whereas studies have shown high levels of physical activity were associated with reduced risk of Alzheimer's disease and many types of dementia. Probably some of you know people who've got Alzheimer's disease and dementia, which is obviously really sad when people get to that stage. But now, for those of you that are on the call, at a young age, whether you're in your 20s, 30s or 40s, this is a real significant piece of research. You're going to really, really help yourself, help prevent things like Alzheimer's and dementia if you move and if you exercise effectively throughout your life. It's not just about keeping fit, and it's not just about looking good. You'll notice from all this research I'm sharing with you from here on in that exercise has so many positive impacts on your body. Inactivity increases the risk of cancer, but how does that happen? It slows down digestion, which means that the time in your gut of food is maximized with potential carcinogens in the gut. An increase in circulating insulin Insulin resistance is something that is very much linked in with the acid-alkaline diet. It's very much linked in with a lot of the big lifestyle diseases now, the heart disease, the diabetes, the strokes, the cancers and stuff like that. It all links in back to your body being in way too much of an acidic environment. So the insulin resistance and the acid-alkaline theories are, they're very much connected together. Although they are distinctly separate, they are connected, if that makes sense. Hormone levels get altered when we don't move as much as we need to. It depresses the immune system as well, which obviously is going to leave you open to infections and getting sick. It's going to modify bile and stomach acid metabolism, which is going to affect what you get out of the food that you put into your body. Exercise and cholesterol, this is a real key distinction for most people. Good cholesterol, the HDL, and the bad cholesterol, the LDL, are affected in different ways when we exercise or not. Physical inactivity decreases the HDL, the good ones, and increases the LDLs, the bad ones. This is a deadly combination, guys, so you've got to get out there moving. You really do. Physical activity does the opposite. It increases the good cholesterol and decreases the bad cholesterol. This is key, and it's really simple. Cholesterol is required to produce hormones in your body. When it's lowered by medications, many dangerous side effects often come into play because the cholesterol becomes too low. It becomes dangerously low in a lot of cases with these medications. Again, you probably know several people, whether it be friends or family, who are on cholesterol medication. Thinking well is it's very simple, but it's not easy. The distinction there is a key one, really. It's absolutely crucial if you want to express true health and vitality to have the positive peak performance mindset. Negativity creates abnormal expression of the genes and therefore your body adapts. It all comes back to the stress response. Your body adapts to maximize the chances of survival. Our body is programmed for homeostasis, which is, in simple terms, balance. Are you getting enough sleep? How much is enough? Did you know that 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. is often called the golden 4? The golden 4? I hear you ask, what does that mean? Well, this 4 hours of sleep is absolutely essential for growth and repair. Growth hormone, testosterone and melatonin are very active during this time. If you're looking to increase body mass and get big in the gym and increase muscle mass, you really need to be getting some good sleep in this time. It really will help, and it will make a difference. Interestingly, the same hormones are involved in burning fat too. The 2 a.m. to 6 a.m., that's more crucial for psychological repair, whereas the 10 till 2, that should say a.m., is more important for physical regeneration. So there's some warning signs of health according to McDermott and O'Connor. Daily meditation and relaxation. Maintain ongoing close relationships. Be very adaptable to change. Have a craving for physical activity. And a craving for healthy food. Have acute and chronic attacks of laughter. When was the last time you just had a real laugh out loud moment, belly laugh? Now, laughter is, you've heard of laughter therapy before, probably. Laughter really is one of the best medicines. If we can do that more often, then, that will certainly make you more healthy than if if you're not laughing often. Like I said before, really simple strategies. Repeated bouts of hope and optimism are absolute signs of health and wellness. Chronic condition of caring for your body. Recurrent rejection of worry. So they're the 10 warning signs of health. It follows then that the opposites are true for ill health. I'm sure you can see that. So let's do a little exercise. It's called the UPF Stress Buster Technique, Ultimate Performance Formula Stress Buster Technique. So if you're still on your feet, have a seat. And this is going to involve some deep breathing to get oxygen to your brain. So just start by taking a few slow, deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And then what you want to do is take a deep breath in and hold. And as you're holding that, really tighten lots of different muscles in your body. Clench your fists together, squeeze the buttocks together, tense your abs. And then breathe out and let go. And then take a deep breath in through your nose. And then really tighten and squeeze as many muscles in your body as you can. Squeeze the buttocks together, squeeze the hands, squeeze the facial muscles, tense your abs. And then breathe out and let go. And then once more, take a big deep breath in. And as you're holding your breath, tighten as many muscles as you can. Really contract as many muscles as you can and hold and hold and hold. And then breathe out. Okay, so what you need to be doing during that, the stress buster technique, take a big deep breath in, hold for 3 to 5 seconds as you're doing that, contract as many muscles as you can, and then breathe out after 3 to 5 seconds and rinse and repeat. That is a really good, quick and easy de-stressor that you can do at any time you feel yourself stressed. Just have a sit down and repeat those little exercises. It's so simple. Sedona method is a really good method, a really good strategy for relaxation and making changes in your life. And I'll certainly recommend and show you how to do that if you're unfamiliar with it. It's a unique, simple, powerful, easy to learn and duplicate technique, and that's going to allow you to move towards your goals. It's fantastic for boosting energy levels, improving concentration and increasing productivity as well. This is really, really simple. So how do we do it? It's based on letting go with 3 very simple, key but profound questions. The first one is, could I let go of this? So you think about a problem or a stressor that you've got at the moment. You might be upset or you might be angry or whatever it is. Could I let go of this? Next question is, would I? Next question is, when? So it's really simple. Could I let go of this, for example, anger? Would I let go of this? When? The answer you're looking for when you do the Sedona method is yes, yes, now. You're not necessarily going to always get the yes, yes, now, and that's okay. Your body might not want to let go of some anger that you've got going on, so it might be, could I let go of this anger? No. Would I? No. When? Never, or not now, or fill in the blank. Keep on running through it. The next time it might be, okay, yeah, I could let go of that. Would I? Yeah. When? Now. So rinse and repeat that when you do it. Generally do about 3 or even 5 rounds of that. Going through the 3 questions once is 1 round, so going through it 5 times would be 5 rounds. Really simple, but really effective strategy, that, guys, so make sure you definitely give that a go. Now, I've got a question for you. Is 1 hour enough together? Unfortunately, it's not. I've just touched on quite a few different areas of the Ultimate Performance Formula strategies, but that really is just the tip of the iceberg. And more information really is not what you need. You know, we've got information on our fingertips. We can Google anything and everything. There's loads of stuff out there that people say that you should be doing, but are you doing the right things? Are you looking at the right things? It's tough doing it on your own, though. I know that. It really is. What you really need is coaching and accountability to help you to achieve your goals. I'd like to offer you the opportunity to continue your education with me, guys. Although, having said that, I'm not actually selling anything here tonight. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my program, Ultimate Performance Formula 90-Day Program. This is the silver level group mentoring. It starts off with a fast start health and vitality consultation. The fast start health and vitality consultation, if you were to be on the program, this is what you would get. You get a one-to-one private consultation with myself, Dr. Danny Scahill. This lasts for somewhere between 2 and 3 hours generally. In that, what we'll do is, together we'll review where you currently are with regards to whether you eat well, move well, and think well at this point in your life. Once we've established the baselines of where you are, then we've got something to work towards. So I'll be analysing the nutrition, the exercise regime, and also your mindset. Learn what's good, and then obviously what's not. Then I'll make recommendations accordingly. The implementation group coaching calls, this is where the magic really happens, because we get the baseline and then make some recommendations in the consultation call, but this is where the real changes are made. So what does it involve, the group coaching calls? Every fortnight we get together on a group coaching webinar. What we'll do there is we'll celebrate your successes and work through your challenges together. Everyone learns from each other's successes and challenges. It's a real supportive environment. Nobody judges anybody. Everybody helps each other within the community. It's a very, very supportive, and we can help each other to get to our goals. I also share the latest health resources and technologies whenever they come up as well. Keep you on the keep you in the know with the latest developments in health and wellness. You get recordings of every coaching call so that you can review them at your own leisure, because it's really, really important. There's a lot of distinctions made in the coaching calls, not just in your own section where yourself and myself get coached, but you also learn a lot from other people's experiences and learnings, and also indeed their challenges. You can you get MP3 audios, so you can listen to them on your PC or burn them on onto CD, so you can play them in your car when you're driving. As Tony Robbins once said, repetition is the mother of skill. Practice makes perfect. So, private online community is also part of the package. You get your questions answered as they come up. This is a private, closed Facebook group. You get access to all the great content there and learn from and support all the other group members as well. Like I said before, it's a very supportive, friendly environment. Members tell me this resource is absolutely invaluable, and I agree with them. So just to recap on what you are going to get if you were to join the program. Fast Start consultation, that's $497 value. You get 2 times per month implementation and accountability calls, £297 per month value. You get recordings of all the calls, £97 per month value. Private online members only community, again £97 per month value. Here's some Ultimate Performance Formula success stories. This is Phil C., a professional commodities trader. When he started the course, he says, my goal was to get into the best shape of my life for my wedding, and Ultimate Performance Formula helped me achieve that. I've got great energy now, and I can only see that increasing as the months and years go on. We have Dee Patel as well. She's also a business development consultant. She says, before I joined the program, I was all over the place. I was scatty. Since going through the program, I've got my drive and ambition back. I'm so happy these days. She says, if you're going to spend your money on a program and you want a massive return on investment, this is it. There's loads of other success stories on the website if you want to check them out as well. A bonus I'm going to throw in as well, guys, is Total Health Transformation recordings. This is a program I put together and presented earlier in the year, and there was lots of fantastic world-renowned health experts on that program. You're going to get the MP3 recordings of that program and also the transcripts as well. I interviewed many world-leading health experts in that program. If you were lucky enough to attend any of those webinars, then you know just how valuable they were. You are going to get that if you join the program as well as bonus one. You've also got another bonus as well. You're going to get recordings of all the Ultimate Performance Formula training modules. That's a £497 value. What does that contain? Well, there's an optimum nutrition module. There's innate exercise, master your mind, and then the UPF review. The 90-day program, just to recap, this is what you would get on the UPF 90-day program. Fast start consultation, $497 value. You get 2 times a month implementation and accountability calls. Recordings of all calls, $97 a month. Private online members only community. You also get the total health transformation recordings and also the recordings to all UPF training modules as well. So here's the total value of what you get. That's £2,500, £2,544 to be exact. Don't worry though, to join the program, your investment is much smaller than that. So your investment to join Ultimate Performance Formula is just $497 plus VAT. That's an absolute bargain, guys. The reason for the discount here is to make you guys one of my next success stories. That's why there's a big discount on the program, because I want to make you my next success story on Ultimate Performance Formula. However, your next steps are as follows. The first thing that happens is a 30-minute breakthrough consultation with myself and yourself, and this part is absolutely free. On this call, we'll discover if there's a match for us to work together. If there is a match and then we decide to move forwards, then we'll talk about your next steps. Then we'll talk about going on to the program. On these the breakthrough consultation, there's actually only 3 places available. So there's 3 places available for the free breakthrough health consultation with myself. To secure your place on a free consultation call, 30 minutes with me, go to dannyscahill.com/contact. And then what you do is you basically book an appointment with me in one of the slots available via the software on that contact form there. So that's it for tonight, guys. I've shared some fantastic content with you there, and you can go away and implement that. And but make sure you certainly check out the 3 places available there for the free breakthrough consultations. If there's any questions, type them into the question box, and I'd be happy to answer questions now. So we've got a question there from Mel. He's asking, so once we do the consultation, if I was to join the program, is there a payment plan? That's a good question, that, Mel. Yes, there is a payment plan, and essentially what that would be is you would pay $97 up front, and then the next payment would be in 30 days of the program. So you pay $97 up front, and then the remaining £400 the 30 days later. You could get started straight away if you were to book in a health consultation with myself. Like I said earlier, there's only 3 places currently available for those breakthrough consultations. And also got a question there from Chris that says, how long does it take to see the benefits? Well, essentially, Depending on where your lifestyle is right now, most people start to see benefits within the first few days or even the first couple of weeks. It really depends how hard you work on implementing the coaching and the advice um, along the way, Chris. So yeah, if you certainly implement and you take action, then you can expect to see results fast. And then over the 90 days, those changes that you make to your diet, your lifestyle, your exercise, and your mindset will compound over time, and you'll enjoy that total health transformation um, within the 90 days. For sure. Okay. If there's no more questions there, guys, then we'll wrap up. Let's see. Okay, so there's no more questions there, guys. So make sure if you're interested in the free breakthrough consultation, remember that website where you can go right away is dannyscahill.com/contact. Go through the software there, pick a time that you want to do this consultation, and then we'll go from there. Have a good evening, guys, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.